All right, hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's live broadcast of Experiencing Mental Health for Black Men. I am Eric the Counselor, and it's my pleasure to have you guys here with us tonight. All the new people, thank you for joining us tonight. If this is your first time to our channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and do it right now. Go ahead and subscribe right now. Take a second. Just click the button right there, and you'll be subscribed to get all of these broadcasts. You will also get all of our podcast episodes, and it's all for you. So go ahead and subscribe. Thank you to all of our subscribers who are joining us again tonight. It means a lot to us. We got a top shelf conversation for you guys tonight. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it because I want to let these guys do the talking tonight. But before we do that, we got to thank our media sponsors as always. We thank Rebrand the Black Man, Dr. Webb, what's his name? Thurston Webb. Thurston Webb. Is it Thurston, guys? Is it Thurston? Thurman Webb. Thurman. Hey, don't get mad at me when you see me. Dr. Webb, I know your name. We thank you, Rebrand the Black Man, a very powerful brand. We also want to thank Great Convo Media for sponsoring our shows. We also want to thank Venue 109 for hosting us here again. Keith Mason's a big-time supporter of everything that we do. We want to thank, again, all of you for joining us tonight. So go ahead, you tuned in, you locked in, share this with somebody right now. Because I'm pretty sure maybe you're a parent and you have a student athlete. Maybe you are an athlete yourself. Maybe you're a coach. Whoever you are, you're watching this for a reason. And I bet you can think of at least one person that should be tuned in with you tonight. So go ahead and share that thing with them, and we're going to have a great night. I'll see you guys at the end of the conversation to give some final remarks. But right now I'm going to pass it off to my friend, my partner, Ron Johnson. Let's have a great show, Ron.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Hey, welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you guys, coaches, for joining us as well. You know, Coach Penny, Coach Avery, Coach Battle, and the legend, Coach Luke Fitzgerald, the legend. You know, and the reason I say that is Coach, because you have been around for quite some time, and a number of people know you that don't know you. And so thank all you guys for being here. We're going to jump right in. We got a few questions. And one of the things I want us to think about as we go forward in this show and in this conversation is mental health is a serious issue that's affecting us. And I'm saying us, meaning black men in America, like no other time than right now. So for such a time as this, we want to have a conversation from a coaching perspective. Some of the things that you guys have done, some of the things that you do, and some of the things that you may have in the plan to address mental health for your players as we go forward. So I'm going to start this question off with you, Coach Penny, and I want to just ask you, first, what roles do you find yourself playing in the lives of your athlete?
Well, as the coach, you find yourself wearing many hats. I want to be Phil Jackson, but sometimes I feel like I'm Dr. Phil. I'm always giving advice about how things can go in life. And, I want to be, that father figure for the ones that need it, that uncle, that big brother in some cases. But, as you're moving through this generation of kids, they just want somebody that's going to care about them. And I think at the end of the day, building real authentic relationships with the young men, it gives me opportunity to be able to work with them and coach them on another level once I can really get to know who they are and they know I actually care about them more than just how good they score the basketball. They know I care about them off the court as well.
Oh, that's great. So, Coach Avery, what has it been like for you? You and I, and, we all go way back, so we know each other from different lives and different spaces. And what has it been for you to be in that position to, what type of effect have you had?
Well, for me, it's more like, you're a mother, father, uncle, bus driver, principal, you everything.
Yes.
Bottom line with me, I try to learn the character, personality, to my young men and communicate well with them. I like going to their homes. I like have real conversations with them besides basketball. Dealing with their grades, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. But as a coach, it's just like Coach Penn says, so many hats that you wear, and the kids must trust you. Bottom line, if they believe in you and they trust you, they'll die on that court for you. So my main thing is just building a good communication level with them and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. That's my job.
Thank you, Coach. Coach Battle, what about you? What role have you played in the lives of, the athletes that you've coached, not only now, but even going forward? What role that you see yourself playing?
Well,
all the above what the two gentlemen before me spoke on. But I think that mainly I want to be the guy that makes everyone feel safe. And I think that when you're dealing with mental health and issues and want to protect the kids, you have to be an open book yourself. And so I often talk to my student athletes about some of my issues I've had in the past. If I've ever struggled with anything, I like to go ahead and put that out there so they know the coach is not perfect, and that may make them feel more comfortable talking to me about what they have going on in their lives. So I play many roles. I guess I can add the lunch lady on to what these gentlemen said. Right. Sometimes we got to go do that too. But just try to build like a family relationship and make these guys feel safe so that we can talk about some of these issues.
Wow. So, Coach, how has it been for you in playing that role? Because I've had so many people that I know you that you don't know that know you, but they admire you. But how has that been for you in playing that role in the lives of your student athletes?
I think one thing you have to be accessibility. You have to be there for them. They have to know that you care. You know, they have to know that you see them. Do you hear them? Are you listening to them? You know, we often do a lot of talking, but we need to be sometimes a better listener, because they come with all kind of problems and all kind of different situations. But I think that the common goal is to make sure that you're there for them, that you care, that you put your arms around them, let them know that you know that you're vulnerable too. You know, if something's wrong, you know, they've seen me cry in front of them. You know, and like a man can cry, because I do cry in front of them. When things bother me, I cry in front of them. It's not a big deal, and so that kind of takes some time, a little edge off of what they may be feeling and how they're going to react to situations.
Wow, thank you, guys. I think that every answer was just so amazing. And I just want to chime in with a story just for myself. You know, being recruited by Coach Gillum at Tennessee State was like no other. But one of the things that I remember more than anything is him really not talking to me about football, but he just talked to me about coming and being part of a family. And I think, you know, as coaches, you know, what you guys have just said to us is it's about family. You're letting these young people know that you have a family here, because at that time you really don't care about them caring about what you know. You just want them to know that you care. And so thank y'all so much for sharing that amazing information. And then, Coach Fitzgerald, I want to ask you this. A lot of athletes want to make it to the next level. And we all know that we have a 5'4", 5'2" guy that want to go play in the NBA. And we have a guy that's, 5'10" that want to go play in the NFL. In your opinion, what's the best way to make it to the next level as an athlete, and how do you help them understand that part of life?
You have to be real with the young people. You have to tell them the truth. You don't pull any punches. Certainly, expectation is great for every child. You want them to be the very best. They have to work for it. You know, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for all of us. I don't know what they can become. I don't know who lives they can change when they get to a certain level. But we have to make sure that we give them every opportunity to be successful. And of course, sure, it starts with education. It starts with being reliable. It starts with being truthful. Some of the things that will last them farther than a basketball or football, because they have to experience life, and life is going to be there. And when they do experience life, they are equipped to deal with situations, because they're better equipped because of playing and being around and doing some things that we expect them to do.
Thank you, Coach. Anyone else like to just chime in on that? You know, what do you tell your athletes? Any of you guys could just jump on in.
Well, even not just even making it to the league, just being a better player. It all works during the summertime and off season. You got to show that you want to be not just a good ball player, but a great ball player. And it's up to you as an individual to put the work in to get where you want to be. We all, as young that play sports, we always said what we want to be a professional basketball, football player, whatever. But can you imagine the work that someone like Kobe Bryant put in to be what he is or what he was, or Michael Jordan, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 shots a day? So, kids going to have to put in work to get to that level.
Mm-hmm. So, Coach, can you just expound on that? What are some of the things that you've done with some of your athletes to kind of make them know that it takes that work?
Well, first of all, I tell them they need to be the best player on this team. That's where it starts. So you need to be the best player on this level before we even start thinking about another level. And also, I think all of us would be in agreement if we saw a first-round NFL draft pick walk in the room. I think everybody in this room would agree on that. Now, the ones that we agree and disagree on, those are the ones that I feel like need to have a plan on if you don't make it, okay? Because I try to stress that it's good to be a good high school player, and it's good to have a good high school career. And if you're fortunate enough to make it to the next level, then you go ahead and do that and be the best that you can be. But I don't want to diminish what we're doing right now, and I think that's where it starts. So you can't just jump up to the different levels if you're not having success in your life right now. And I also believe that the guy that cleans up his room, that takes out their trash, that treats people a certain type way, I believe all that factors in to going into the next level. What kind of person are you? Because there's athletes all around the country. What's going to set you apart from another guy?
Thank you. And Coach Penny, can you chime in on that? Because you're at that area where those guys that are playing college ball, for the most part, they are all playing college ball. And they may not say it, not all of them, but I think if given an opportunity, they all would like to play in the NBA. But what has been your way of helping those guys understand that?
I think Coach Battle said it. That's the one thing we hit on the most is what kind of person are you? What's your off-the-court life like? Are you turning your classwork on time? Are you putting in quality work? That stuff has to match up exactly with your play on the court. I don't never try to put that unwanted pressure on the young men that they have to be pros, or even the ones that I think that can be pros. My whole thing is just be the best version of yourself. Don't worry about, what granddaddy saying or what daddy said or AAU coach said or your mama or uncle or the barbershop boys. Don't let that pressure bother you. You focus on being the best Brian Collins that you can be, or the best Marcus Fitzgerald, whoever you are. You be the best version of you. And in the end, if your off the court is lining up with your on the court and you got a plan, then they're going to come see you. They're going to come find you. Those scouts are going to come find you no matter where you are. And then once you kind of break that down to them and make them understand that, the pressure of having that weight of carrying around, I got to be a pro, it kind of goes away, because if you just stick to your day-to-day plans, it'll happen for you.
Yeah. As a former football player for Tennessee State, Coach and I, we both can, attest to, there was a time where it was almost like a NFL campsite at Tennessee State because the scouts lived there. And you had guys that, just got discovered because they was at Tennessee State University. But the coaches made you believe that it was all about what you did right now. So thank you guys for those amazing answers and statements. Coach Battle, I want to ask you this from your perspective. What is the most draining stressors as a coach do you think people don't know about? What are the most draining stresses that you find yourself dealing with as a coach?
When everything that we practice and everything we train for, when it doesn't come all together sometimes and produce a W, but we still won in other areas. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times in defeat, you're able to learn a lot. And people come and watch games on Tuesday nights and Friday nights, but they don't see what goes on behind the scenes. So when I have this kid who's been getting referrals, double-digit referrals, and then he's knocked them down, he's not getting in trouble anymore. When we have an academic goal that we're trying to meet, and we come just a little bit short, those type of things like that, it brings us closer together as a family. But those are things that we have to overcome. And, of course, tragic events. When we have deaths in the family, and not always natural causes, things that could have been prevented, and some of the reasons that we're on the show today to talk about. So I've experienced a lot of that in my coaching career, that we've had to overcome, the loss of family members and friends and cousins and things like that. And I'm like Coach Fitzgerald, I'm not afraid to cry in front of my players. I've done it before, and I actually had to bury my dad and go coach a basketball game about 2 hours later. And I remember the kids telling me how bad they wanted to get this win for me and things like that. So we have those type of stresses, and you don't see those on the floor or on the field, but a lot of that goes on behind the scenes.
Wow. Any guys chime in on that?
With me, tragedies that a lot of people don't see, that when kids are not doing well in classrooms and trying to make sure that they're doing the right thing and going to class, that's real stressful, as well as having to find a kid that's run away, that the parents call, and it seems like the coach is always the one that the parents going to reach out to, because the kids have so much trust in that coach, and having to go find this kid who done run away, not getting along with their parents, don't have no food or money, cash apping kids. It's the things that you don't see that coaches have to actually go through is something that everyone needs to see sometimes. It's not just about the X's and O's and what you're doing on the court, and what you're doing on the football field. Is as a family, as a team, as a coach, you are that leader, and you see so much that's draining. Just coaching alone is draining. Every day, practice every day, game day, putting film together, tapes together, trying to get, high school kids to do the right thing. It's very tiresome, but all in all, it's just, as a coach, you just have to be there for your kids and your program. Period, bottom line.
Amen. Coach Penny, what do you think about that?
I can tell you, AP, it's the same for college. And I agree with Coach Battle and AP about what they saying. The stresses is real, and just piggybacking off what Carlton said too, like the wins and losses, that's the obvious answer that, when you're losing, that hurts. But the biggest stressor, I think, is one of those things where it's like you invest so much into the kid, and you're giving them the exact advice that they need to be successful in life. It's almost like you're a doctor and you're drawing up the prescription of what the medicine they need to take. And this medicine is going to cure your life, son. Just take it. And then they grab the medicine from you and go back to their apartment and throw it in the trash. I'm just like, that is the most stressful part. Yeah. And here, to make it even worse, 10 years from now, they'll be going through the garbage trying to find the medicine that I gave them to take 10 years ago. Wow. And like Coach was right. Yeah. And so that's the stressful part to me. It's like seeing a kid just not take the medicine, take the advice that we're giving them right now, even when it's advice that they don't believe is the best for them. Mm-hmm. And that advice may be, you don't need to play today. This advice, it might be something you don't want to hear, but it's the best for you. And it's stressful when a kid just doesn't believe that, and they go on and make the mistakes that you try to warn them not to.
Warn them not to. Wow. Coach, what do you think about those stresses because you've been in this thing a long time?
I don't know really what I hadn't seen, to be honest, over these years. And certainly we can put a lot of stress on ourselves because we all want to be successful. We all want to win, and there's a price for everything. But one of the other stresses is balance. Now, how do you balance family life? How do you balance school? How do you balance the student athlete's life? How do you bring all this together? How do you allow time for individuals or team or wife or kids? And I find by myself, this was years ago, wind up bringing them all together because some of the issues I would kind of bring them home because I would bring the kids home with me, and that was okay, then, and I found a way to kind of bring all that together. But you'll wind up trying to figure out the balance, what do you, because there are many nights that you're going to be away from your family, and everybody else's family is at home and they're tucked in, where you still worrying about, a student athlete, like all the coaches said. And so the balance of it, and if you're out of balance, that's an issue because everything needs to be in balance. If a tire is kind of low and then you don't have balance in that, you're going to have a wobbly car, if it's out of line. So you have to have a balance in life.
Amazing answers. I want to just piggyback on all of that because when you think about stressors, they come from all different angles. Most people don't see that the coach may have stress at home. Things just may not be going right at home. And then you got to come and put on this whole new mask when you got to coach your 12 or 15 or your 100 kids and not realize that, hey, you just got a call that your brother passed away up in somewhere. Like Carlton said, I had to bury my father and go coach a game 2 hours later. I'll give you guys a quick story, on how I played a game of my life in TSU. 3 interceptions in one game, balled out real hard. My mom, my dad, and my brother and them was there to see me play. And what was so amazing about it was I made a proclamation to my mom. Next year when I get drafted in the NFL, I'm going to buy you a big old house. Something you hear kids say all the time they want to do for their parents. And my dad, I told him, Dad had already ordered him a Winnebago. My brothers had ordered them 2 cars. So that was already quite a bit of money that was going to be spent. But my mama stopped me and said this. She said, baby, I don't care nothing about none of those things. She said, be my first son to graduate from college, and I'll be the happiest mom in the whole wide world. And these are stresses that I think people don't see that people who are in leadership position go through. But 3 days later, unfortunately, my mom was murdered. And so that was a real stressor for me. And I thought about, at that time, I didn't understand, because I'd never done no counseling and none of those things and what have you. But just from you guys' advice and dealing with some of your own things, and this is kind of a little off, but still in that same vein of question, when you've had a pretty stressful space in your own space, how have you been able to manage that in working with your athletes?
Well, the acronym I always use, I said, it's HALT. This means stop. That means halt. So if I tell kids that if you're excessively hungry, overly angry, lonely, or just tired or whatever, HALT, just gotta halt. We gotta put those things back in alignment. So if any of those 2 things out of alignment, I say, hey, are you hungry? Are you angry? Lonely? Are you tired? You're one of those, and usually it's 2 of them. And so we try to address those things, and I get them back kind of quick. Just halt. You know what that means.
Maybe that.
That's a great question. I think this year was a year of dealing with it. The COVID provided us opportunity to see what you were made of in adversity. And I didn't know I was doing what Coach just said. I felt like I was a walking example of that, but I didn't know I was doing it. Just, as far as dealing with tragedy, my grandmother passed away. Then a month later, my uncle passed away from COVID. And you still got to come to work and strap up and be ready to coach them guys hard and love on them. And I wanted to be a walking example of, even though I'm going through this storm, y'all see y'all's coaches coming here ready to work. Not that I don't want to address this, situation, but there's still a job to do. The world's not going to stop just because it's raining. The storm will eventually stop, and you got to come out of it and be ready to shine. So I think that's one of the biggest things for me is when you're in that leadership role, you want to make sure that you're showing that, not that you're tough, because, at the end of the day, that's kind of what has set African Americans back. Just be tough. You good. You shouldn't have to cry. Don't cry. Don't, it's not that, but it's when tough things happen to you, it's not time I'm going home and quit. You have to kind of be able to fight through some adversity. But at the same time, like we talked about, if you have those real authentic relationships with your kids, you'll be able to have those conversations with them and tell them what you're going through. And if they rock with you, they'll run through a wall for you. Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Well, with me, I was going through the COVID with basketball, starting so late, just moving forward. That was my thing. And like some of the coaches said, being there every day, going hard, practicing hard, making sure the kids are there. The kids was dedicated and was there. So the coach as a leader, you got to make sure that you're there like you're going to play. Your time is going to come, and we not knowing when we were going to actually play. So it was just letting everybody know we got to go forward, and we can't worry about what's in the past or what's going to happen. Let's stay together as a team and move forward.
Well, when I can sense things going on, whenever I say everybody have a seat in the bleachers, they know it's going to be one of those talks. And, I always plan for them to be brief. Sometimes they get long, and they only get long depending on what the kids have to say. Because like you said, sometimes you just have to listen. So when I listen, let them, like you said, have a safe place, let them get it out. And I also want to add, I'm a real big fan of music, right? All types of music. So out of the blue, I just might throw on a gospel song and sing it out loud and say, y'all listen to the words and what they're really saying. And then every now and then I'll put on a rap song and say those words because I need them to listen to what they're actually saying. Sometimes they just bob into the beat. I'm like, actually, this is an inspirational song. Listen to what they're really saying. So just if I try to meet them somewhere and let them know that, I'm listening and I'm trying to, understand everything that you guys are going through. But everything that these gentlemen said, it's a tough job.
I think Coach Ballard mentioned something about listening. Most people don't listen with the intent to understand. People listen with the intent to reply. So they're going to jump in before you get it out of your mouth. So he made a valid point that we need to listen with the intent to understand.
That's powerful. You think about it. As a coach, that's all most young people really want is someone to hear them. So listening is a skill, but hearing is a technique of making them understand, I got you. Not only did I listen and hear what you said, but I got you. And then, therefore, most of the time, if you guys notice, from me going to counseling, what I remember is, I kept saying to myself, why does counselor always repeat my words? What I figured out was over the years of doing counseling or coaching or what have you, life coaching is those are techniques. Because most of us kind of have great answers inside of ourselves, but we haven't been able to visit that place. And so I want to ask you, you hear people say all the time, you got to meet a kid where they are. I want to ask that question. Where are most kids at in this day that we're in right now? Anybody could just jump in. Where are they at?
Well, wow, that question is so powerful right now because you have kids from that as coaches, we coaching from all different parts and, all different parts of life. So when you talk about meeting them, I was raised and around hard-nosed coaches. And I was always taught that, you got to treat everybody the same, teach everybody the same, but that's not the case right now. You can't do that because you got certain kids that can take hollering and going off on you. You got some that can't. So, for example, I had a kid that I was just going off on for 30 seconds. He missed 2 foul shots, threw the ball away, and let his man drive to the hole. So I had to rethink myself the next game that this kid, I can't holler at like that. Now I have another kid I can go berserk on, and he'll give me 12, 14 rebounds immediately. So it's a different way of coaching right now with our kids. Every kid is different. Every household is different. But at the end of the day, it's a puzzle. When you're dealing with a team, it's a puzzle trying to put everybody in place. So it's just hard dealing with individuals when you're dealing with a team. So as coaches, we just try to put everything together as one and hope we're doing the best we can with our team.
And you know what? These guys, I've known them since they were young, man, they really smart guys. I like these guys. Like AP said, that's a funny thing. You can't, and don't even try, you can't treat all players the same, but you can love them all.
I would add to that as the younger statesman of the crew, this is a new generation of kids that are influenced by social media. And social media has provided instant gratification in terms of being cool and popular. And it also has provided an opportunity to get embarrassed. So if you're on TV, ESPN, and I holler at you, they taking that as the world just saw you holler at me. Instead of I'm trying to help you so you can stay in the game and help so we can win the game. I'm not trying to embarrass you. And then I've also saw that it's keep some kids from playing as hard as they want to on defense because they don't want to get crossed over or dunked on because they don't want it on ESPN or overtime or some highlight reel the next day. So it's a different generation in terms of how you deal with them and how you coach them. And, like you said, you can't treat them all the same. But, I think the stern discipline doesn't change. There's some non-negotiable things that go on in coaching. But at the end of the day, this is a generation where the guys that really can figure out how to treat each guy the way, meet them at the place where they can get the best out of that person, those are the guys that have the most success.
That's that psychologist that come in as coaches that we don't know that we have, that every coach have. You know, it's something that is that mindset that, okay, what do I have to change as a coach to make this better or make this situation better? And that's what we do.
I just want to agree with Coach Collins. Where they are, social media, it runs everything. But believe it or not, high school level, college level, a lot of kids, when they get to us, it's the first time somebody has said certain things to them. Like, it's kids that get to us and they never knew that they couldn't shoot. Nobody's ever told them. Okay, so, you know, now we're that guy, so you're against me. Okay, I think you need to understand that so we can be a better team. So we have programs now, and they give us our shooting percentages, and you can show them, hey, son, you're shooting 18% from 3. He say, but you let him take it.
That ain't what Mama said.
But he's making 40% from 3. So where they are right now, because my coaches were totally honest with me, no matter what sport it was, and I think that's what makes us pretty decent coaches, is that we did hear the truth. And my parents told me the truth, and I tell my kids the truth. So I think it's important that we get back to that. I want to challenge all the parents that I'm not saying that you have to down your kid, and I want you to support your kid. But if they say, hey, I should be playing in front of him, and you know that other kid is better than your child, you say, no, he does this really, really well, and this is what you do well, okay? But I just think we need to get back to being honest and, you know, letting our kids know that it's okay to fail as well.
I mean, that's amazing. You guys just truly described the point of meeting a young person where they are at. And so, clichely, you hear that said a lot by a whole lot of people, meeting someone where they're at. And I would always challenge folks when they would say that to me. So where are they? And you guys touched on all of that. One of the things that we know that music is the universal language of communication. It really has a way of leading and guiding a lot of decisions that our young people make in so many different ways. And I use this analysis in the sense of where when you think about a young person that you have coached, and we're getting kind of close to the end, but when you think about a young person that you have coached, what has been some of the driving things that you've had to get them to understand about the music that they're listening to and how it is guiding a lot of the things that you see they're doing or not doing?
Well, one thing, I don't, but you know, some of the music, you know, I don't like a lot of profanity in the music. They do, but I said, you know, I don't know how much that's making you play better, you know, and the end result is you playing better. I said, so don't look like you playing that much better, so look like we're going to have to listen to some Christian music.
I love that.
Amen.
Amen. I would say that the biggest thing that I try to get to my guys, because we don't really have an issue with the music deal in terms of I make our guys play edited music in practice. Like I let them listen to it, but it has to be clean. So we don't hear the profanity as much. But the biggest thing I try to make them understand is that if these guys are rapping for a living, but they're talking about selling dope, it's not realistic. If they're talking about killing somebody, they're not on BET and MTV tomorrow. They're not really doing it. It's almost like, I'm not saying they haven't done it before maybe, but it's almost like they're Denzel Washington. It's like it's entertainment. And you can't get caught up in those things and think that, oh, I can do this. I can have all these women. I can do all this, stay up all night, burn the candle on both ends and still produce on the court. It don't work like that. This is just entertainment music for right now. It is no different than watching Sylvester Stallone and Rocky and enjoy this moment for just to get excited about the music. But this is not a lifestyle that you're living right now. You're a college basketball player, son. You ain't no thug. You ain't no dope dealer. You ain't no killing nobody. Stop it. Stop. This is a movie. This is, and I'm not saying all rappers don't do it. My point is that this is entertainment for you. And I have had to stress that to my guys before in the past that, you know, just enjoy the moment and the entertainment of getting you hyped. It's not something that you're gonna really walk out here and try to live. You can't do it.
One thing I tell them to do, really, I'd really do before the season, I said, invest in some earbuds or whatever y'all call them, because now you can listen to whatever you want to listen to. I don't have to hear it. Your teammates don't have to hear it. So we're all good.
But I want to say this too, though. I want to say this too. Some of the music they listen to is suicidal, depressing too now. Like, these kids is listening to this music, and I'm like, dog, this is not exciting. This made me want to just go jump off a bridge. And then I listen to the words. The little boy actually said, I want to take 50 pills and go to sleep. What are y'all listening to? But y'all boys crazy. So, you know, it is some lyrics out there for some of these rappers that are saying stuff that some of these kids, I wouldn't say necessarily college kids, but 13, 14-year-old kids, they want to sip lean and do the things, and then they wondering why, or smoking weed all day long, they wondering why their mind's not locked in or they have some mental breakdown, is because they get influenced by guys about doing drugs, and the guys that's rapping about it, some of them are not even doing drugs. So.
Well, just like Coach Penny was saying, a lot of that is acting. A lot of those guys, 90% of them haven't lived their lifestyle that they're talking about, but it's influencing to our kids. They actually listening to that music. With my team, they got a boom box that they play before I come in and give my speech or whatever, but everything is edited out. But it hypes them up. I don't even know what the lyrics are saying, just being honest. You know, I'm listening to the beat as well as them, and if I really knew what they were saying, I probably wouldn't even let them have the edit part, because they repeating it even though it's edited out, what's being said. But a lot of it is our kids are listening. Music have a big influence on our kids, and not just student athletes, but kids, period. And you know, some of these songs that they saying about going out and murdering people and calling women B's and H's, and you know, first thing I asked them is, do y'all want somebody to call your mom or your sister that? You know, and you'll be offensive on it. So, you know, the music is a very big part of what's going on in our society right now, and I don't know how we can solve this. I don't know. I know they done tried before to ban some music, but it's gonna be here. Period.
And just quickly, I just wanted to say that I believe it does affect you, like, mentally. I remember when I was listening to and what time in my life, and I kind of went back and just looked at it and said, oh, so when Tupac was out, I was kind of different, you know. I was, you know, but and I think some people can handle it and some people can't. What's important to me is they can't listen to that around me. So somebody go in there and say, hey, Coach coming, and I can hear them turning it down. And like Coach Fitzgerald said, you gotta have your own earbuds and AirPods. And if I'm driving a van or the bus or any, I can play my music out loud. But y'all gotta put y'all AirPods in to play what you want to hear. So yeah.
You know, when you think about music, and one of the things that I did for a number of years, we did a piece called Lyricology, and I would tell some of my white counterparts, as I would teach lyricology, you won't find that in Webster Dictionary, but you will find it in the Urban Dictionary. It literally is lyricology. It's the study of lyrics and effects and how it affects us. But one of the things that I love about it is I listened to Mike Tyson give a speech one time about why did he play LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out. You know, that was when he first came out. Mama said, he said that was his way of going in there with such a built up energy, and when he would make first contact, that was his MO. So what I would say as a coach, I think you guys and we all we can start doing with our music, with the kids listening to it, is teach them how to navigate it. Because like Coach AP just said, we're not going to be able to stop it, but we're going to teach you how to navigate some of the things that if you listen to it and start perpetuating, it take you down a pretty dark road. But if we can teach you how to navigate that, I think that's what what our jobs should and could be. And I see that's what you guys have done from all the questions that y'all have answered. We got one more question here, and then I want you guys to just kind of chime in on it. And this question is to anyone who would answer it first. What's the best advice that you can give to a young athlete and their parents? What's some of the best advice that you can give to a young athlete in their parents, because, there are some parents that can be pretty overwhelming. I was a parent that I wasn't overwhelming, but I was too big of a fan, and I almost got put out a couple of games being too loud, and calling the referee, and they cheating and all of that. And so I would have to go all the way up to the top so only somebody could hear me would be me. And then my son would be like, "Pop, come on, man." And I learned a valuable lesson on how effective it was on my child. But what are some advice you can
Well, for me, just be honest with your child. Just be honest with them. Tell them the truth. Let's be very supportive of what they're doing as well. Kids need support. They want support. They know when their parents are. They can look in the stands and see where their parents are sitting. That's something that they enjoy. But as a parent, you also have to be realistic with your child as well. When kids come to them and say, "Hey, I'm supposed to be playing and I'm not playing," what coach in here want to lose? You think we in here gonna have a player that's supposed to be out there on the bench? We're not here to lose. Our jobs are on the line. So just be honest with them. Be up, straightforward, and just support them. Everybody's not going to be the star. And me and Fitzgerald talk once a month almost about different things. And with our kids right now, it's not a we and us anymore. It doesn't come to the point where it's an I and me. It's all about what I'm doing and what my parents want me to do. And if it's not that way, it's time to move on. It's not the team anymore. So, just be straight up with the kid. Just be honest with them, and I think they'll play harder and they'll practice harder, and they'll try to work on their game more if they start thinking team more. It's just a different type of generation right now. I call them influencers. People in the summer that influence them, can get in parents' ear and tell them what they think best. And what the parents are not knowing, that most of the coaches went through the recruiting and all that themselves, so they know what's best, but they listen to different trainers and all this new generation stuff that's hurting a lot of the kids. So just be straight up and honest with your child, and I think that the child will respect that more.
I think setting the parameters of communication. One, and I know these guys will agree with me, we're not going to talk after the ball game. That's one thing. So don't come to me at the ball game, win, lose, or draw. And the other thing is that we use the media to benefit everybody, because what we're going to do now, we film every practice. So a lot of times what the child does at practice, it's probably the reason that he's not in the game. So we're going to sit there with the parent, with the child, and the video. And this is what we're going to go by, and then we're going to talk about it. And we're going to try to, reason with them as far as telling exactly what we see from our point of view. And at the end, we would hope that the parent would be the parent, we would coach, and that child would play.
Mine is simple. I just tell people, just enjoy the moment. Everybody have all these dreams and expectations they put on these kids. Just enjoy the moment. Like, if I go to a high school basketball game, I'm just there to enjoy myself and enjoy the experience. If I go to a Tennessee State game, the same thing. It doesn't always have to be a problem or issue, okay? Sometimes it's your night, sometimes it's not your night. And what I mean by enjoy the moment, a lot of people debate about who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan, right? Now, I'm a Michael Jordan fan. You'll never change my mind about who the best ball player is, okay? But I enjoy watching LeBron James, okay? So if I'm trying to always compare the two, I can't enjoy LeBron James. So I just encourage parents and kids to do the same thing. Just enjoy the moment. You got a game tonight. Let's have a good time.
And I'll say this, my own personal experience growing up playing and having a father who was a coach. He never said one negative thing to me in my whole career. Not once. And as a coach, you would think he'd say, well, you need to get in the gym more. You need to work on the mid-range. You need to shoot more. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You need to be doing this more. It was always, when you're on the bench, be the biggest cheerleader. When you're in the game, be the best role. Whatever role coach got you in, be the best role that is. And that was it. And it was always positive. My dad never said one negative thing to me. So my advice to parents would be, don't say anything negative to your kids. They don't need it. They already got enough pressure it is, especially in this generation that we're in. They got enough stressors. So why would you add to that by telling them what they can or cannot, should or should not be doing?
I'd like to add to Coach Penny, Coach Collins a better player than he was. So.
No doubt. And I want to say this too. My mama, now that's a different story. She challenged me. You know, when I was in high school, she said, "Boy, ain't you a college player?" I'm like, damn. Right. Hey, and when I was in college, if I was playing bad, she said, "Ain't you a pro?" And that was all the motivation I needed. So, you know, I just think you just give your kids encouragement and push them to be the best version of themselves. But negativity and beating them down, it definitely is not going to work.
And I'll share with y'all real quick, man, how much of a fan my father was, especially after my mom was murdered. My father was such a big fan. I'll never forget, we played MTSU over there in Vanderbilt and put a whooping on them. Yeah, I said it. We put a whooping on them. We didn't lose many games when I played for state. But nevertheless, I got hurt. And you know Vanderbilt Stadium's a 6-foot jump. My dad had on a purple North Memphis jumpsuit. In the game, before the referees and anybody else could get to me, my dad had on jumped out that stadium to come and make sure his son was all right at a college football game. I looked up and said, "What you doing out here?" You know, and the police was behind him, and then the coach let him go on in with me. But what I'm saying is, he didn't know a whole lot about the game, but he's a true fan. He enjoyed the moment. And that is what I hope that some of the parents have gotten out of this moment right here is enjoy the moment. And one other thing, for you young people who that are out there, I want to say this here to you. I think life is about discipline. And here's a statement that I hope you could write down and you can add to your library of thoughts. Discipline determines your destination, not your desires. We all desire to do and have and be a lot of things. But are we disciplined enough to accomplish those things? Because everybody that you see who have succeeded, it was their discipline that got them over the hump. And that's what keeps them over the hump. The LeBrons, the Kobe, the KD, all of those guys have disciplined themselves, the Steph Curry, to be the best. And you be the best version of yourself by saying to yourself, it starts with being disciplined. I'm going to let you guys, we're going to close out. Eric going to close us out. But I just want to real quick, if you guys have anything to kind of say that we could say to any of our people that are watching, please say something to them, you know, the charge going forward that you guys would like to share with them. Anybody can share each one.
I'll go first. Mental health is real. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to talk to people and get real advice. And if you're that person receiving the advice, take the advice that we've given today and be a listener. A good listener is just as good as any words that you could give to that person going through anything.
And parents, don't be ashamed or bashful. If you see there's a problem with your kid, go get him tested. It shouldn't be a problem with you trying to solve a problem of your child. If you see something wrong, go get him tested. There's nothing wrong with that. You have doctors and specialists to help him out. So don't be bashful. Help your kid out.
I second Coach Patton. I was going to say something very similar, so I'm going to challenge you as a friend. If you are a friend of someone that you think that could use some help, please go to that friend and let them know that it's okay to get some help.
And there's nothing wrong with saying I love you.
Powerful. I'm going to let Eric kind of close us out. He's got some closing statements, and I'm going to shut up. Yeah.
All right, man. Those of you who have been watching, we've been sending the clips. You guys are really engaged, and you're hearing some good stuff. So we're glad that you were with us. Some of the things that we heard that really stuck with me was the halt. You know, sometimes you just need to halt. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? And usually it might be two of those things. So I learned that for myself tonight. That's a good acronym I think that we can all use. Coach Penny was just talking about being your best self. You know, block out all the noise. When you're trying to make it to the next level, if you're an athlete, don't worry about what your mama's saying, your daddy's saying, and anybody else is saying. Focus on being the best player. Coach Carlton Battle said, be the best player on this team. Right? Let's focus on being the best player on the team that you're on, right? And I think that's going to help a lot of athletes. Just focus on being the best player. Coach AP, the community knows you for many things, and I know that when you talk tonight, just like every other coach, you're talking from passion. And, of course, Coach Fitzgerald, it's just a pleasure to have a legend amongst us, you know what I'm saying, that can just share his words of wisdom. And I'm always like looking for like a halt or like a statement or something from him, because I know it's going to resonate with me, and it's going to stick with us. So, you know, parents, if you've listened with us tonight, we appreciate you. It's been our pleasure to produce this show for you. Athletes, you've heard from top coaches. These are the guys that are here to coach you. They're not only your coaches, though, as you've heard. They're your mamas, your daddies, your pastors, your friends, your uncles, or everything you might need you can find in a good coach. And so you just be a good athlete. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's been our pleasure. We want to say thank you to Moments of Creation for producing our show, all the behind-the-scenes work. It looks easy, but there's a lot of work that goes into putting on a show like this. So thank you to Moments of Creation. Again, Great Convo Media. It's been our pleasure. Make it a great night, folks.